let's go. Computer check, mic check. Okay, camera number 1 over here, just looking down at the Nerf gear. Camera number 2 over there, giving a bit of a view of the entire garage. Welcome, hello, say hello in the comments. We've got 2 boxes of Nerf blasters. I bought these for $25, 25 euros or £25. I think it's probably all the same money these days. So what we'll do over the next hour, if we get that far, is get through box number 1. Now that's on the workbench here. I'll give you a better view of that so you don't have to look at me sideways in a minute. And what we'll do is we'll just have a little rummage through what's in here. I'm very excited about what's in here. There are a fair few things that are very exciting. It appears that the live stream has decided it's going to kick me off and on again. So sorry about that if there's a technical issue. But yeah, it's just a case of going through what's in here. I mean, I spent $25 if you're a Bluey fan on these, and they are pretty cool. I have got something exceptionally exciting over on the other box, which I don't think we're going to get to today because there's a lot of stuff to go through. But if you have a look at this, I'll just stretch over and grab it. Wow, that was loud, and it has a sticky trigger. But this, if you've never seen one of these before, is one of the better blasters ever made. That's a big claim. It is, of course, a Swarmfire 10 darts of AEG goodness. Now, I'm going to put that back in the second box, which has all other kinds of goodies in it, and we'll get cracking with this, because on the top of here, you will see it says Nitron. That is something I have never seen before. I've seen pictures of it, but I've never seen one in real life. So let's put the Swarmfire down for a minute, because that's very exciting, but that's not for right now. And what I'll also do is I'll try and dig out some darts, and I will fire them over at the view we've got over there. So let's have a little look at this guy then. The Nitron, it's pretty heavy, it's a pretty beefy blaster. It's a Vortex blaster, of course. Just knock the thing out. There's one Vortex disc in the top of it there, you can see. And it might be easier actually if I turn this box a little bit sideways. Apologies for that racket. To give us a little bit of space to actually look at the blasters. Now, yeah, Vortex disc in here. I've actually 3D printed my own of these, and they really hurt when they hit you, so don't look at those. What we need to do is have a little look up here at how many more Vortex discs might be in here, because there's not many. And then see a couple of darts as well. And you'll notice, if you've already been quite eagle-eyed, that although we're looking at the Nitron here, something else quite exciting over here. So, the first thing to note about this is it weighs an absolute ton. You appear to prime it like that. Now, you better tell me in the comments whether I'm doing this right, because I've never used one of these. Loaded, very rattly spring. Flywheel, yeah, flywheeler. It's not doing anything. It's really heavy, so it makes me think there are probably batteries in here. I'm not entirely sure how you get the batteries out. There's a screw under there. Let's have one look and see while we've got a long screwdriver around the place. Here it is. Well, this big fella to play with, and we will just open it up and see what's inside. So, oh yeah, 3 screws for the thing there, because I think it's got batteries in it, but they might be knackered, and I've got plenty of batteries over in the corner there that we can use instead to see if we can get this to fire a disc at our little second camera we've got. Okay, it's really stiff. Just pop that open. It's probably very corroded. Oh yeah, there's all sorts of stuff coming off of it. Oh wow, look at that. Toys R Us, remember them, Toys R Us branded C-cell batteries. Now unfortunately, A, I don't want to be messing around with this right now, and B, I haven't got any C-cell batteries. I've got a whole ton of D and a whole ton of, it looks like more D actually to be honest, and AAs. So this probably needs some repair. Let's pop him back on. Pretend we never saw that. Those of you that are here because we repair Furbies with batteries that are a bit knackered will know that that will be no problem. We'll do that in due course. Sorry for the loud noises. Let's get that back in there. Right, well that's good, because I have got another blaster from the Vortex range that I need some of these little vortex discs for, that is my Diatron, and my Diatron is probably the most complicated Springer Nerf blaster ever built. I have a video, probably not finished and probably will never be finished, about the Diatron, because I had to take it apart. It wasn't working on arrival, and then taking the locks out of the thing and everything else was an absolute pain in the bottom. So let's pop that back in there where we know it's nice and safe, load that back up. And as we get them out of the box, what I'll do is I'll pop them over there next to the other box. So we'll just walk these over here. So one Vortex flywheel blaster, the Nitron. Very exciting, but can't play with that right now. Now then, something a little bit more familiar we'll go for straight away. Everybody knows these. The good old-fashioned Maverick. If you're a Humans vs Zombies player, you'll know all about these, because when Humans vs Zombies started, especially if you're a very sort of early Human vs Zombies player, you will have played with one of these guys in some of the first ever games, because 6 shots, it was pretty much all Nerf made back then. We get it to go. Oh yeah, there we go. It's not too bad. Pick that dart up, have another go. I would say that pick that dart up, that could mean anything around here. There's plenty on the floor, but that might not be the one I just fired. All right. I'm not getting that back anytime soon. Well, there we go. At least 2 of the 6 cylinders in this ancient Mav actually work. And if we take a look at it on the bench, you can actually see it's got this little sight guy here, which you can turn and slide up and down, so that when you take your shots, you can have a little look through it and sort of aim and adjust for dart drop. And I can tell you, with a Maverick, you're going to be adjusting for the drop it immediately does out the barrel. Now these things shoot, I don't know, 20-30 feet at maximum. So very, very classic bit of kit. I have got another one actually, which is quite modified. I don't think it did it any good, because it still gets about the same FPS as all my other blasters that are stock. So 50-60 is it an improvement? I don't know. I can use this stock Mav and find out. Very, very interesting little scope thing though. They've chosen, the previous owner, to put it on top of the Maverick, but actually, because of the way it primes with this slide, might not be best to keep that on top there. I can see this box also has a bunch of other, yes, scopes and attachments and other things, and I can also see another classic HVZ blaster from way, way, way back in the day. So before we put the Maverick away, it's probably worth just running through why this wasn't a very good blaster to start with. It's not direct plunger, so it's reverse plunger. Inside here there is a tube that slides inside another tube, and it all closes up and you still get a ton of air left. It doesn't fire all the air out of it, it retains a fair bit, so it doesn't actually fire it along. One of the first mods you do to one of these is open that up and have it drop out either further or completely, so that you can take your cylinders out and have a bit of a changeover of those during your HVZ play. And the whole thing relies on, I'm not sure if you can see it on this camera here, but there's a gap there, and when it's fired, it just closes the plunger onto the back of the cylinder, and then it sort of retreats away again, and that causes problems because it causes drag on the cylinder, and if it was any tighter, any better a seal, it would stop the cylinder rotating completely. And also it rotates on trigger pull. The cylinder goes round when you pull the trigger, so it's kind of moving and playing catch up, and you don't always get the line up of the plunger with the cylinder to get your dart coming out as it should do. Now I can't see any more darts around here. I've lost the other one behind the camera. Oh, there we go. There's one in the back of the box. Let's give it one more shot. Oh, there's a few down here, excellent. Right, just put your dart in the side there, move it up one, and that's loaded, and then there we are, and it landed neatly back on the bench. Look at that. That was like trick shot of the day. I don't think I could hit anything or do anything like that twice if I tried. So there we are, it sort of works. It's fairly lackluster. These things jam and malfunction all the time. I've had ones where the slides come completely off. I've had ones where the darts sort of plopped out, and I've had all sorts of problems with them. So we'll pop that away back into history where it came from. I do enjoy playing with these, but they're not very war effective. Okay, time for another blaster. Let's see if if we can get some of you guys down in the comments telling me about these as we go, because a lot of them I'm not entirely sure about myself, or there may be something that I don't know about them that you can tell me and enlighten me about, because they are relatively interesting, these toys. So let's have a little look. I'm going to skip the Demolisher now, because we know what one of those is pretty much, and go for this guy. It's got a ginormous sight on the top of it. Absolutely enormous. I don't know what this comes off of. I've never seen this myself either. It's sort of a scope with an opening end. That's very exciting. And yes, if anyone knows what this scope comes from, do let me know, because it looks like it's an N-Strike line scope. It's obviously got the Enlist, Engage, Enforce N-Strike stuff on it, as you get usually around the logo on the blasters. Now, we've all seen a Barricade before. Its successor, I think the Stockade, was equally bad, but this is a flywheel blaster. Let's see if it does any flywheeling. Oh yes, there we go. And it's similar to the Maverick. You load it up like that, and I think on trigger pull, oh, that's locked with the flywheels off. Fair enough. On trigger pull, it rotates. It's very loud. On trigger pull, it rotates, and that there should be the position to fire it in. It's very, very weedy. It gets about 40-50 feet per second as well, just like its sort of successors. The Stockade, I think it was called, and its peers, the Maverick and others. But yeah, let's have a little fire at this. It's probably got batteries from Toys R Us in it, like the other one, but I'm going to fire it up and shoot it at the camera for fun. And the cylinder rotates, and it just has a... Yes, just get that dart again. It's gone. There's another one there, but it's got no head on it. Okay, fair enough. And I've also noticed there's probably a disruptor or strong arm on the floor. Right, so we got our Barricade. Not particularly powerful. It's probably got very, very weak batteries in it, to be honest. They do have some potential, usually as a parts blaster, for modding, because these didn't have very good flywheels in them. They were designed to use the older streamline type darts, so they don't work very well with the newer elite darts. I say newer, they're probably 15-20 years old now. And if you look in there, you see these little sort of toothed flywheels. They're in there. They're quite sort of jagged white plastic, and you can smooth those off and make them a little easier to fire darts with. That's a mod that people do. Or you can just whip the motors out, because these used to be good motor donors for other blasters. I know things have moved on, and we have like the Valkyries and other motors in this world that people use. Probably not even Valkyries anymore. What are the other ones I've just been taking the shafts out of? I can't remember. It was quite some time ago. The Out of Darts model, that was pretty good. So we don't really need to be taking motors out of Barricades, but people did, because they wanted a 130 size motor that would upgrade their Strife or whatever it was that they had. So Barricade, lovely. I'll consign that to the other area with its friend, the Maverick, and we'll take this scope and this little sort of, yes, we'll take this scope that like opens up. In fact, I mean, you can see through it. Just a little bit more yellow. I think that's what it does. Put it on my camera there. Makes everything a little bit more yellow. It's a little sort of night vision-esque covering. I'll put that with the sort of sports scope that comes with the other one over here. You can see we're going to get quite a pile going on over there. Right, so on the floor we've got, and we should have dealt with this with the Maverick, we've got the strong arm, which is basically the Maverick's successor. Let's get the Maverick back over here and talk about the differences. So taking these at sort of face value, saying ignore the Nitron, because I don't know how much they're worth, but they're probably worth £3 or £4 each, maybe these, if that. Let's say 2. So I've got about £6 worth of blasters in my £25 spent. But that's not really what we're in it for, is it? It's more for the messing around with toys value. So there's the Mav, there's the strong arm. Now, they pretty much are the same profile. Strong arm slightly longer. Oh, they're very slippery. The thing with live stream is I can't cut that audio out. Right, they're both 6-cylinder, 6-shot cylinder fed blasters, but the strong arm has a number of improvements over the Maverick. It still doesn't have blistering performance. It's also still top slide primed. That one feels like it is primed currently. Yep. I'm not sure that having it primed for that length of time has done it any good. We'll deal with that in a moment. Let's get a dart. Pop that in there. Which way around are we going on there? Same as the Maverick, round that way. They improved the cylinder by making it come out far, and actually that clicking is quite satisfying, isn't it? Gunslinger-esque noise. That's pretty good. Right. So I realise I'm looking at the live stream, I'm actually putting all of the blasters on the bench, but not where anyone can see them. So there's your strong arm, there's your Mav, and yeah, the Mav, when you pull the trigger, the cylinder rotates. The strong arm cylinder rotates on the prime. I didn't that time because I jammed it against the bench, but the cylinder rotates on the prime, so then it's in place, ready to shoot when you do shoot it. Let's see if we can get that to happen. Yep. Put a dart in there, sort of squeeze it in, load it properly, eh? And then, yeah, a little bit more, considerably more powerful than its cousin the Maverick. But you can see how that has, from the N-Strike line to the Elite line, evolved slightly. Mods for these, you know, you can mod these a little bit. It doesn't really do much. There's some classic mods, penny mods, and other bits and bobs I've actually 3D printed. If you look at my Thingiverse, various old school mods in the 3D print new school style, but they don't really bring them up to the performance of these, and these don't really perform that well either. You can mod them, but they're not the most reliable. So let's just get those out the way, having talked about those. Now, what we'll do while we rummage around and trilling on darts here, what we'll do is we'll just talk about why you don't keep your blaster with it primed. Because inside a blaster is a spring, and springs lose their power as soon as you start to compress them for long periods of time. If you compress them for long periods of time, they are metal that, in theory, goes back to its original shape. That's why they're made of that sort of spring steel that they're made of, or music wire if you've got yourself a lathe like I have, and you can make your own springs, which I'm not great at. So you don't really keep them like that. Don't keep your blasters primed, because if you do, you'll squash your spring and it'll kind of remember that it's supposed to be a short little tiny spring, not a big long spring, and then when you come to use it next time, it'll be weaker as a result. I'm just going to go and deal with a technical issue, and I will be right back. Just noticed over here, I can retrieve a dart while I'm doing it, so it's not a complete waste of time. Let's get this sorted. Right, that should be done. Okay, I'm going to lose power today. So, what else have we got in the box? This is all very exciting. I can see two more things I really do want to talk about. One, I don't really know what it is, and some other stuff at the bottom I can't even really tell. So what I'm going to do is I'll get these, get this dart out, and I'll have a look at this here, a Recon CS6. And there are a couple more darts there. Okay. Now I can see from this box that this person really loved their attachments, because there's loads and loads of attachments. This blaster I have not seen, I don't think, in real life. These Recons, they're basically the, I think, Retaliator precursor. I know you can do sort of a mod where you, oh, I've chambered it now. There we go, right. I know you can do a mod on these where you can make a Retalicon and you can put the internals of one in another. That was a very old school mod. Now I haven't got anything sitting around here apart from up on my HVZ belt, if I can just grab it down. I'm going to grab the whole thing down and show you while I'm here. Okay, got some drums. Scooch them out the way for a moment. This fellow, this big bit of plastic here, big bit of plastic and tape, is essentially the way I was running a Stampede at an HVZ event recently, just for fun, and I didn't have any stick mags, or didn't have sufficient stick mags, I thought, for the zombie onslaught that was going to come. So what I did was I made this guy up, which is 2 3D printed plates that my belt could weave in and out of, because I was just running a battle belt. I was running light with this big fella attached to me, 75 darts on my side, it weighs an absolute ton. And on the other side of it are 3 3D printed magwells, decorated with galaxy tape, because why wouldn't you? And these magwells are brilliant, because they mean you can just click your drum mags in and out by way of storage, and it doesn't matter if you sort of wobble them around and stuff. They did stay there while I was being chased by zombies. So I'll just use one of these. put the belt away. I'll have a chat about that next time we talk about HVZ, and the Invitational is up again, so that'll be on soon. We'll be talking about that soon. The Humans vs Zombies at Royal Holloway, which is a university in, I think, Egham, near London, in fact, in the United Kingdom. There's a place where people play HVZ, one of the only places, if not the only place. And I was there for an Invitational this time last year, which is where I ran the drum sort of belt thing. So let's just put a few darts in this drum and feed them to our friend the Recon. It says CS6 Clip System 6, I think that stands for, so it will have had 6 darts in a clip inside it. It probably wasn't supposed to have a massive drum on here, but I think this one is from, does it actually fit? Is it the right way around? Yes, it is. This mag release has just got a bit, a little bit tight over the years. Okay, doesn't really move at all. This drum mag is, I think, from a Infinite. Get in there, come up, there we are. Oh dear, doesn't feel very happy. Oh, that's right, yeah, sorry, I have completely failed. You don't put anything into one of these until you open the breech. So, breech open. Like the little access door, that's quite nice, neater than some of the newer ones. Clicks on quite solidly as well. Some of the newer blasters more plasticky than that, so that's better. Get that in. No. Something going on here. Ah yes, I've got a half-eaten dart in there, that's what the problem is, from where I last tried to jam that in. So, and out. And this is what happens, boys and girls, if you don't treat your magazines and everything well. Let's just hope that will work. Unless that was stuck in there from before. Okay, so, get them loaded up. There we are. It looks fatally ridiculous. And let's see if we can get some shots off. Yeah, it's not got any power at all, has it? A little bit more. Wow, you got the camera right in the camera, and that's it. Undo that. Really struggled to get that out of there. Oh yeah. Do that first, right. There we are. Trying to shoot that. So, not very powerful retaliator predecessor. I'll put this back in my lovely clip up here. Let me know in the comments. Do you want me to run that belt in the next Humans vs Zombies Human vs Zombies game at Royal Holloway? I'm going to be going back there. I don't think I'm going to be running the Stampede, to be honest. To collect some darts a second. There we are, got some darts. Now, what I don't want to do is go back to Humans vs Zombies with that great big Stampede again, because it did malfunction eventually, although it was quite good fun because it just scared the zombies with the noises it made. It was modified with a stronger spring and a 3S LiPo, so it was a pretty terrifying sounding thing and quite fun to run around with, but actually, I've not got it here, but my trusty hammer shot, or in fact Sweet Revenge, was the blaster of the day there. I could probably, I mean, let's have a look, we've got a bunch of alpha points sitting over here, 5 of them, 6 of them. Hammer shot's like that big, isn't it, with a hammer prime? And just having that on my side, I think I could probably handle most of the Royal Holloway game. My Sweet Revenge was actually brilliant. The only times I needed to properly tag people, I pulled that out and it was done. There was no need to spray the field. I did manage to, as rear guard, save somebody's butt with the Stampede, so I'll stick that in a separate video. Let's talk about HVZ another time and get back to what's in the box, but yeah, it's an interesting thing, that belt with all the drums on it, and that is why I've put a drum in the Recon. So Recon, you can go back with your N-Strike friends over here with the Maverick and the Barricade. I don't mind the Recon actually, I've not really handled one in real life, and that isn't too bad. I do have a Barricade, it's got 3S LiPo and I think some bike inner tube wrapped around the flywheels, so it absolutely screams. It's terribly unbalanced. I think it hits about 70 FPS. It's hardly a hard-hitting blaster, but it's really, really good fun to play with just because it's so goddamn noisy. Right, let's get into some more modern stuff, shall we? There's an absolute treat here. People who are observant will have seen what this white line is. One of my favourite blasters in the world, and I'm really glad to see one hiding in there under all the others. But first, I think we should deal with this guy, and I think I can see his friend at the bottom. Let's have a look at that. Oh yes. So this isn't, oh, there's darts going around everywhere. This is not a surprise to a lot of nerfers, finding one of these in a Nerf assortment box, a good old fashioned Strife. So yes, we all know what the Strife is. If we don't know what the Strife is, I'm going to have to get those drums out again, aren't I? Bear with me a second. This person said there were magazines actually in the boxes. They must be in the other box. Let me just get that drum back. Okay. So the Strife, similarly sized to the Recon, and its retaliator counterpart in the Elite line, but this was a game changer of a blaster actually, because it was a flywheel powered blaster, one-handed, could be wielded one-handed like a pistol, and you could potentially dual wield 2 of them, and the rate of fire was pretty good because it's semi-auto. You can just keep banging the trigger, and as long as you're not you know, sagging the flywheels too much, the darts keep coming out, and you can just, you know, in modified form, and there are loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of mods for these. In modified form, this is an absolute dart hose, and was the original dart hose long before people started messing around with things like rapid strikes and some of the other things that we have now, like the proton pack with the Jupiter attached, and the little pew pew and the other high rate of fire blasters. I forget what the other one is, but it's an absolute monster as well. I've not got one of those. So great little bit of kit. This was an actual game changer. If you played HVZ, you wanted to get your hands on one of these, and they're sort of £5 or £6 these days. You can get them in the shops even for not much more than that. But back in the day, if you had the money to buy this and take it on your HVZ play, usually with 18-round stick mags attached to it, you probably wouldn't live very long, but you'd certainly be comfortable with your firepower, because all the people in HVZ die eventually, and it doesn't really matter what you take, as I found out last time I went. So, in fact, I found out that you need to take running shoes, and if you take running shoes, you're going to live longer. That's basically it. And also, if you just kind of look where you're going. Those 2 things, running shoes, look where you're going, you'll live much longer in HVZ. So let's fire up the Strife then. I assume it works because it feels like it's got batteries in it, probably, again, decades old Toys R Us ones. You can't really see the flywheels down the camera, they're in there. Smooth flywheels, properly spaced for this type of Nerf dart, the Elite dart. Let's load a few of these up and see if we can get it to run. I've not tried any of these, I'm opening these boxes live, because it's fun, and I haven't actually seen what's in them apart from sort of the top layer. Right, so let's get this Strife loaded up then, shall we? I'll give you a quick overview of how it operates. Obviously no priming to do on this. When you put the mag in, just clicks in. It has 3 controls that you need to really worry about. It's got the rev trigger, which isn't working, that's not a good sign. And it's got the firing mechanism, which once you've got the red trigger pressed, will allow, you can see it in there, there's your dart in the top. And when you press the rev trigger, it will spin up the flywheels. This one's not doing it, so it's off. I mean, it wouldn't do it with the jam door open anyway. There's the little switch that is that safety. Take that out if you're modifying them. Stopping your little children putting fingers in there is all that's for. So hold the rev trigger, pull the main trigger, and that activates a pusher in here, which pushes, there you go, your dart into the flywheels. I'll pop that back in there before it gets eaten. So I don't think this has got any other locks on it or anything. Let's just whack it open and see if the batteries are completely shot. It's probably the case. It's got some Duracells in it, but they are disgusting. Let's have a look and see if there's any. Oh, they're like welded in. Yeah, okay. This is going to need a bit of loving, I think. Guaranteed, my contacts I'm going to need to make are here and here. And it wants, these are 1.5 volts, so 6 volts worth of power needs to go into there basically. I've got a power supply here which I could connect up to it, but with contacts that disgusting, it's not going to do it. So let's dismount the mag from it. And although this is an absolute game changer of a blaster, and I'm glad I've got one actually, because I don't think I've got one of these in the collection sitting around anywhere. I'm glad I've got this, probably not with this ridiculous magazine on it, but I'm glad I've got this to play with, because the modification potential of one of these is actually really, really high, and there's so many mods you can do. I mean, I've got some motors and bits and bobs, brushless motors. Let me grab one of those. The problem is they're not very well sized for a Strife. Up here, I'll just put them there. These, oh yes, no, they're going to be far too big, aren't they? People will put brushless motors in a Strife. I've got a few here, but yeah. I think they're going to be a bit too big. The reason people use these is because they're outrunners. The outsides of them spin. And then you can use this surface as your flywheel. So if I get a dart, you can just sandwich your darts in between there and set these motors off spinning. Now, not these motors because they're massive and they're not going to work. So I'll just pop them back in there and put them on the shelf where they came from. Yeah, so if I'm going to do a brushless Strife, I'm going to need smaller motors. Okay, let me know. Yeah, let me know below. Are they the right size? Can you squeeze those in there? They have 55 amp ESCs, so I'm not sure what battery you're going to have to put in this to make that work. Probably some kind of small aeroplane battery. I've got a couple of those. Not impossible, but didn't look like it would work size-wise. Okay, so we're done with the Strife. I'll put it over with its N-Strike counterparts, but I'm going to go and get something very similar out. And we'll look at that next before we look at something much, much more fun. Just pop him over here. Getting a bit of a pile going on, so if you hear the sound of smashing plastic, that will be what's going on. I'll just check my stream settings are all right. Everything looks quite good. Audio's good. The video is roughly working. We've got a separate set of scenes here, so I can say hello to you over here from this camera. Cut my own head off. I need to be shorter, don't I? Hello, hello everybody. How are you? And I have obviously the bench view, which is obscured slightly by me doing this, and the split view for everybody, which is it's actually a bit big. So I'm going to make that a little smaller and pop it just down there, just maybe there. That's better. Cool. Right. Technical issues aside, let's get back to it. So, why did we get the Strife out and say there was something similar? So, you will have seen one of these before. This is a demolisher. Very, very popular blaster because it fires gigantic rockets. And do you know what? I don't think I have any gigantic rockets in my box, but I can now see everything that's in here, and that's very exciting. Slightly less exciting that some of it appears to be part of another blaster, and who knows what this thing is. If you know what this thing is, get it in the comments before I find out myself, because it does seem a little bit strange. But if you know what it is, get it in there. And yes, hello. Nice to see you all, and do tell me what you think these are. So we've got our upside down demolisher here on the camera feed. I should have flipped that over, shouldn't I? I wonder if I could do that now. Maybe do that in a minute. We might just have a little quick pause here where I see if I can flip my camera feed upside down and see if I can make that a little bit. I've realised. Do I want that to be what's happening? Yeah. I'm really sorry. I've been running this the wrong way up for some of this scene, some of this stream. So I will leave it like that. That gives you less of a view of what's in the box, but more of a view of what we're actually talking about. I might leave it like that for the next one when we do the second box. So the other box actually looks really, really full, and I don't know if we're going to be able to do that without it. Yeah, it's taking too long, although I can't really see. There's a huge number of layers of blasters. It's just down here, slightly off both cameras. But we might need to have a rummage in it because I can see that there's parts of blasters in here we might have to have a look at. So back to the demolisher. Anyone who has had a play with the demolisher will know it says 2-in-1, and it is a 2-in-1 because it has a ginormous rocket launcher on the bottom. And this is a thing known as a HAMP, which is hand activated, big old P there, HAMP. That's what I'm going to call it from now on. And a HAMP is is it handle activated or hand activated manual prime? So you basically push that like a pump and it will blow air out of the end here and fire an absolutely enormous rocket, which I don't have. I might have in the bottom of the other box, but I can't really see it. That was full of blasters and they're all in the way. So you use your giant rocket launcher like that, and that's really useful in games like HVZ and other things. where you have a special mechanic where you can only kill zombies or stun certain types of zombie or certain types of player, break shields, etc. with special ammunition. These demolisher rockets are sometimes something that will be counted as that special ammunition. So it's really useful to have one of these. I won't open the battery compartment because I can guess, if it's a similar age to the Strife over there, that it's not going to work. But we'll put our giant 25 round drum in there and see how we get on. It's a giant, it's hardly the biggest drum Nerf make. Oh! And that, to anyone who's ever modified a Strife or anything else, or played HVZ back in the day, is a very familiar noise. Similar to the Strife, you have your dart in there and a rev trigger at the bottom. That's what was making that noise. It won't do it with the jam door open, again, to stop your children putting their fingers in there. And then when you pull the trigger, it pushes the dart into the flywheels. I'll put that back there, and we will do that. And then the trigger in front is the mag release. So let's close that up, rev it up. It's going to take a while, it's going to be quite noisy. We'll rev it up and we'll fire it at the camera over there. Yeah, there we are. It's quite a bit of pop actually once the flywheels get going. They're probably hitting. I'm just collecting my darts again. I probably need to get the dart box out and put it on the bench and not waste all your time, my lovely viewers. Not waste all your time just basically doing a dart collection. Right, there we are. Got one back at least, that will do. There's another one down there, but it's lost forever by the looks of it. Right, we'll drop this out. We'll pop that there in case we get another flywheeler. There's not much more to say about the Demolisher. It's basically a Strife inside. If you want to modify a Strife, the mods will fit the Demolisher. They've got similar cages, if not the same, if I remember rightly. And it's got some Duracells in it with a March 2024 sell-by date, so it's quite recently played with by the looks of it. Okay, pop that with his little strifey friend, and we'll get digging. What is this? What is it? Tell me what this is in the comments. Nobody's brave enough. Nobody's telling me. Tell me what this is while I knock everything over and put this with its mates over here. I'm also going to have a quick look in this box. Oh God, of course an avalanche. I wish I hadn't done that now. Yes, no, that's not what I was looking for. Aha! But there is a clue. Right. Let me have that. And I'll put the rest back there and we'll play with those next time because this is very interesting. This looks like it goes with this. Do we prime it like that? Yes, we do. Not entirely sure where that goes after that. Does it come out the front? I don't know. Right. I'll put that back in there for a moment because what I want to look at next is this absolutely wonderful blaster. Everybody should have one of these. I've got two of them. I used to run these and only these in Nerf Wars because they're just so much fun. And of course, we're talking about the rough cut. Right, I've got some darts for us. We're probably not going to need this for a moment, so I'll pop that back in its little... Oh, I can see we will need it. Just leave it there for a minute. Right. This is one of the most fun Nerf blasters you can actually get. Oh, it is primed again. Wonderful. Thank you, previous owner, for priming my White Elite rough cut that I have now got. Right, before we start talking about the rough cut, let's quickly total up. We're saying these are like worth £2 each. I've got half of my £25 box here, so that's sort of, I don't know, £12. So if you're thinking I'm trying to make money on this, let's see how much money I've made. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Oh yeah, I think, do you know what? Pound for pound of colourful plastic, I'm almost profiting on this. It's quite lovely. I'm probably not going to sell all these. I don't know who'd buy them. But I don't think I could sell them in good conscience. Some of these have been just left primed. We don't really want that to happen, do we? So this is a wonderful blaster. It has a smart air restrictor system in it, which means you can load it with up to 8 darts. And this is actually key for its fun factor, because front-loading blasters, particularly when you're playing Nerf Wars or even Humans vs Zombies, assuming you're using full-length darts, which quite a lot of wars have these days. I've seen lots more. I said in another video that the proliferation of short darts was quite low in the UK. It was slightly wrong. The last event I went to, there were absolutely tons of them. So not entirely short dart dominated, but there are lots more around. I don't need the screwdriver anymore either, because I'm not got any batteries in this. This is a spring power blaster. It's got eight cylinders at the front. Well, it's an 8-shot sort of cylinder. It's it's what's called a smart AR, smart air restrictor system. You can't take the air restrictors out of these or it messes them up. And they have quite strong springs in the bottom as well for those air restrictors, so they're quite commonly going to pop your darts out. So part of the fun, I will say, it's a drawback of the rough cut, but part of the fun of it is not knowing how many darts it will actually shoot. But the reason this is, I mean, it's a great, if you just prime it, you just listen to it. That is just pure shotgun. If you're thinking of any of those zombie films where somebody's got a shotgun, I'll just fire it a second. If you're thinking of any of those zombie films where they're just going and then boom in the zombies, you know, if you're into that, the tactile feel of that prime. Let's do it again. Oh yeah, it's nice. It just feels meaty. The blaster feels quite solid. It's not rattly, it's not plasticky like some of its other Elite line counterparts. And what it will do is it will fire, I think it's from that one first. Let's have a look. Oh yes, I see when I primed it, it popped out. I'm pulling it very slowly because there's a trick you can do with these. Nope, they both came out at once. Okay. Let me get those darts and we will reload. So it will fire 1 or 2 of these. It fires them in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, something like that. 7, 8. And the trick you need to do with these is you need to take them apart. I'll probably do a mod video on this because it's pretty cool. If you squeeze the trigger very carefully, you can actually fire 1 at a time. So you can have 8 shots: 1, 2, 3, etc. As it is now, it's more likely to do 2 at a time. Yes, and you can hear that hit much harder than some of the other stuff that's from the Elite line, particularly the flywheelers. You know, stock Strife, a rough cut is hitting harder. I think they hit about 70. I think my other one hits about 80, one of them. So they're not wimpy blasters. They're way under. Let's get a few more darts from down here. They're way under the cap for some events. Well, I've scavenged another couple from the garage floor so that I can fill the full 8 up. Now, the reason it fired 2 at a time is because it has 2 cylinders inside it with springs, 2 plunger tubes. They're direct plunger. There's one there, that's what those bulges are. And they're both connected to the one trigger. And if you're really, really careful, you can release one and then release the other. It's much, much easier if you get this and then inside it, just file down a little piece to make the jump between the 2 triggers a little bit more definite. My other 2 have got that mod, and you can, if you're not in a panic, fire 1 dart at a time, and that gives you 8 darts in your hand that you can, you know, play with in Humans vs Zombies. That's pretty good. I did that with my hammer shot, which has an 8-dart cylinder, a printed one, and that was perfectly sufficient. So the reason this blaster is some of the fun, as I was saying, is that you never know really how many darts will come out of it. If you do shoot it, air does get into the other cylinders, so sometimes the other darts sort of fart out a bit and they might fall on the floor, or they might stick out a bit and then not fire, and the one next to them will go off. Unfortunately, if that happens, you're not getting any more power out of the one that did go, because it's 2 different plungers. So, but they hit hard, they're fun, the tactility is absolutely amazing. I've got nothing but good things to say about the rough cuts. I've thoroughly enjoyed playing with and modding the rough cuts I've got. And the rough cut actually, to go back to Humans vs Zombies, the rough cut is the sort of central, it's not the central player, because it was the person themselves who was the absolute hero in the previous game I went to, the previous Invitational. There was a person called Ollie, and Ollie, they were fast, very, very, very fast runner, and they ran light. They ran with a rough cut and a pocket full of darts. You can't really use short darts in a rough cut unless you do some serious modification on this end, but Ollie would have in their hand or in their pocket some darts. I don't know if they'd modified their rough cut to actually fire 1 or 2 shots on demand. It was probably stock and just fired 2, but because you can just pull them out your pocket and reload, pull them out your pocket and reload, it's essentially, if you've not got a huge wall of zombies in front of you, it's essentially infinite shots until you run out of a pocket full of darts. So way more than you need to get yourself out of trouble, and it's worth its own video, it really is. But in the Humans vs Zombie game I played, Ollie was incredibly fast, faster than any of the humans, including me with my running shoes, and would just get attacked by the zombies, pull out the old rough cut, give it the old lovely satisfying noise, fire off a couple of shots, refill on the fly, and then absolutely book it out the way to a place of safety. And I saw them, you know, not take out, but outsmart 4, 5, 6 zombies, you know, a couple of shots with the rough cut, stun a couple of people, leg it through the gaps they've left, no problem. You just could not corner this player. I thought they were going to get a valuable player award, most valuable player, but they didn't. They were my vote, I'm pretty sure of it. And it came down to their last stand with their rough cut and their pocket full of darts. They'd gone up a set of steps and got cornered, and the zombies could basically use themselves as meat shields to attack this person while they were frantically rough cut, reloading and firing. And yeah, you're not going to get past sort of 10 or 12 zombies coming at you in a line behind each other with one of these if they're very determined and you've got nowhere to run. But for the 2 days they were playing, this person just absolutely rolled with this blaster. They just went round attacking the zombies, legging it out, never really underpowered firepower wise when it came to sort of needing to escape. Get this, blast off a few shots, you know, you've got 4 at least, 8 if you're careful or have modified the trigger, and then quickly reload it from your pocket as you're running. It's absolutely wonderful and so satisfying. I will stop gushing about the wonderful rough cut. I must get my others out. I could probably run them this year, couldn't I, in HVZ? That'd be nice. They're just so fun to play with, and the unpredictability does make them, you know, a little bit more fun if you get away with it, if you shoot 5 darts instead of 2, or if you accidentally unload your rest of your darts and then sort of have to panic and put them all back in while the zombies are coming. That adds a little bit of something to the gameplay, we should say, but it's a bit terrifying. So let me have my darts back. I'm going to just unload the rough cuts at the camera because I need it. I mean, I don't know if I need the darts for this green thing. I don't even know what it is. Does it take darts? It looks like it takes discs. Nobody's been brave enough to tell me what they think it might be, so let's have a little look. We got a little technical issue here, bear with me. Okay, wonderful, yes. Unload. And it did all of them without making too much of a mess, other than darts everywhere. Really fun blaster this. I'm going to put it with its friends. I'm probably going to leave it at the top of the pile because I will want to play with this maybe in the next Nerf war I go to. It's a bit fresher actually. Pardon me. I did complain about it being left all the darts, on most of the darts. Whoa. I did complain about it being left primed, which we know we shouldn't do, but you know, it seems to be pretty fresh. It's popping the darts out pretty well. Right, onto this thing then. What in the world is this? It has excess written on it. Excess. It has 2 cylinders. One looks like it's spare. And it has a sort of Maverick type arrangement of a plunger that pushes up against the cylinder when it's left. And it has this contraption at the top, which when you pull it back, this fires a disc by the looks of it. Yeah, that comes out and fires a disc. I've lost the disc, haven't I? It's in here somewhere, is it? Yep. It's gone underneath one of my other all-time favourite blasters, which we will have a look at in a minute. So we've been running for about 49 minutes. We'll try and wrap it up within the hour, maybe hour and 10, so here we go. Alright, let's put a disc in then. So you put a disc in there, right, and then presumably, I'll just front load it, you put a dart in there, and presumably it fires both. It does, it fires both at the same time. That hit pretty hard actually. Let me try that again. Oh, I've accidentally indexed it wrong. That hit pretty hard. Jeez, wow, that is, I mean, that's more powerful. That's what? Let's have a look. What have I got up here that I can compare it to? There we go, right, bear with me. Lexshot Micro, these hit at about 80 FPS. Oh, right in the camera, okay. Try again. Yeah, so that's 80 FPS. What's this getting then? On the, you know, completely subjective chrono. Yeah, I'd say that's on a par. I'd say it's on a par. 80 FPS out of a, well, I don't know, off-brand, whatever it is. I mean, the off-brand stuff is known to be quite powerful. How do we change this then? It looks like you can reload your bottom, don't do that. Reload your bottom cylinder. Oh, that's good fun, isn't it, spinning that. Reload your bottom cylinder and then flip it over to be the top one. But, it's manually. Okay. So if I wanted to put a couple of darts in there. Put that in there, prime it up. Nope, missed that one. Oh, it went the other way. It just spins the other way. Look at that! That's wonderful. Yeah, I reckon that's hitting about 80 FPS. Zuru it is, so it's an X-Shot blaster of some sort. It's missing bits and bobs and stickers, but wow, that's cool. And it would do. I don't know where the top of it's gone. Maybe that's in the other box. It will shoot discs. Discs. See, I've dislodged my camera over there. Let me just pop that back. I'll get these darts while I'm down it. Let me just pop back the. You can all look at the bench and the C5 and all the other junk in here while I just put my camera back vaguely straight, because what I did was I shot it with blasters and it sort of fell down. Right, hopefully that's all right. Hello everybody. Okay, right. Let's keep this going for another sort of 10-15 minutes if we have to. So much exciting stuff to talk about in here. I feel like we should. This I will. Well, let's look at that last. Let's talk about this for a moment. The trusty Rampage, or, well, it's not so trusty, is it? There it is. If you've seen one of these before, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you've played with one of these, you'll definitely know what I'm talking about. I'm going to put the micro back in its little thing up there. It's got it in. Oh, I've knocked out. Well, this is my darts box, actually. I should really have got that down. It's got the delicious Foam Fest darts from last year. I don't know if you can read those. Absolutely wonderful. Really good time at Foam Fest. I intend to be back there this year. I'll put my little X-Shot XS over here and probably retrieve his. Yes, I'm going to retrieve his little disc down here because I don't want to lose that. It appears to be the only one I've got. So I'll put that over there with it. I'll put this pile of junk back where it was too. As you can see, there's a lot going on in here and I keep knocking things over. So, if you've ever run a Rampage, you will know they are actually affectionately known in the NERF community as the Jam Page. They're one of 3 blasters in the Elite line. The Rampage, the Alpha Trooper, and what was the other one? The Retaliator. All fairly similar internally. They all work slightly differently though. The Retaliator was much more like the Recon. The Alpha Trooper was a pump action without the foregrip and without the side magwell, but essentially, you know, there are some interchangeable components. I think they mostly take the same springs, etc. Let's load this up. I really like these because they do hit quite hard out the box. I've had a couple that have hit way over the 70 sort of FPS par without doing any spring work on them, and I just like the funny sidewaysness about it all. And being right-handed, I can fire this with the magazine or the drum resting on my arm. I don't really use stocks because I'm not that milsim, but it's nice to be able to rest it like that and see vaguely where it's going. Yeah, these are, you know, they're quite big, they're quite long, cumbersome blasters. I did think about it for HVZ, but the Stampede was kind of similar size and way more fun. So let's have a shot of this. I expect it to be quite powerful unless it's knackered. I didn't make it too. It wasn't too powerful really, was it? This one's probably hitting about that par of 70, if not less. But yeah, out of the trio of the Alpha Trooper, the Rampage and the Retaliator. I do like the Rampage. I really do enjoy the side magwell. Yes, because it's not gravity fed, or it's not, the darts are not coming into it straight like they could be on other blasters. It's not really gravity fed, is it? It's anti-gravity. It does jam a fair bit, and I don't know if that's to do with the side magwell or not, but yeah, affectionately known as the Jam Page. I've had these things jam when I need them loads and loads and loads of times and got shot in Nerf wars. That's another reason I wouldn't use it for HVZ, but because you do need two hands to operate it. You can't really get to a secondary that easily, or really hold a sock while you're using it particularly easily, and you don't necessarily want to get shot or eaten while you mess around with it. Okay, so we've got some interesting stuff left in the box to end up on. Let's have a look, shall we? What exactly is in here? We've got some scopes and stuff. We've got two scopes. These are pretty cool. This one's kind of like a, you can see that down the camera. It's got kind of like a triangle toothed kind of thing at the end there. I don't know what that came on or is to go on. It may well go nicely on something like a modulus, but this looks more like a modulus scope to me, and that's got the traditional crosshairs inside it. So those are pretty cool. I'm going to put them away because I want to talk about this, and I'm going to put this away as well because this is not mag fed. So I'll clip that back into its belt holster thing and put these with their friends. What is this thing? What is it? It's not really completely Nerf colours. It actually looks a little bit mouldy, which is completely disgusting. Let me see if I've got, without tripping over my own wires, let me see if I've just got something to wipe it with in this cupboard. I'll have a cloth out. Alright. A little cloth on there. Yeah, it's pretty gross, isn't it? Pretty gross. A little spray so we can make it not disgusting. So when I click the brake cleaner up there, that'll do the job usually. Might not like it on the plastic, but you know, it's a kid's toy that I bought for cheap on the internet, so it will probably survive just one wiping down. Alright, that's slightly less gross than it was. I'll throw that over there. It's the stock of something, and you can prime it. It looks like it's front loading. I've got no darts now, they're all on the floor. There's one here. Right, front loaded. It has this wonderful, I don't know if this comes with it or not, but it has this wonderful fake red dot sight. That's really nice. It's got a nice little acrylic window with a crosshair on it. Again, sort of modulus colours, but this is a different colour. This is a more sort of creamy Star Warsy kind of colour, isn't it? Was it from one of the Star Wars blasters? You tell me. Comment below. What is this from? Does it go with that? I've got a sort of Star Warsy Rampage sticking out of the other box. Maybe that's what it's from. It says Hasbro on there, but it doesn't say Star Wars. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, but yeah, you should. I mean, it's your stock, but you can also shoot it. It's pretty pathetic, or whatever it is. Let's have a look. I've got a dart down here. Let's get that one. Oh my gosh, it's behind everything. One more go. Pop that in there. Yeah, that's really interesting, and that kind of creamy colour makes me think it might be from the Star Wars line. Let me look. Let me see if I can rummage in this other box. I haven't got time to get through this other box, so I will leave it for next time. But in here, yeah, here's one of the Star Wars blasters, and it's got that kind of same creamy colour to it. Does the stock fit on there though? It's got such a long. Oh yeah, it kind of goes on there. It wouldn't shoot over. It wouldn't shoot over its. It would shoot into the back of this one. So maybe it's not for that. Maybe it is for the modulus. All right. Okay. Star Warsy Rampage. I like that. We'll have a look at that next time. Pop him back in with his friends. Okay. So there we go. I don't know really what this is from. It could be from a modulus. It's definitely a little bit moldulous. Don't really know if I want to be making hilarious puns at this stage in the video, so everyone just scamper from the from the thread. Right, thank you very much for joining me. we've had a really good fun time. Please, 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 please comment what this guy is. I think we need to know. I need to know anyway, because I really don't know what's in there. Right. Let's go back to here then. Okay. I shall say goodbye. We've got an empty box. We've achieved empty box. I'm now going to have to put all those blasters that are over there back in this box. I'll put that one in at the bottom. And I'm going to get the other box out and empty that. This was £12.50 worth, or €12.50, or whatever, of your you know, money dollars of blasters. So we've got another €12, pounds, dollar, bucks, 50 of lovely blasters over there to have a look at, and some of them, apart from the Swampfire, which is hilarious fun by the looks of it, that is a really, really fun thing to let go, ka-chunk, 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 and the Star Warsy Rampage, which we've just had out. There's loads of stuff in there again that I can see like the tip of, or like a bit of, and I'm not entirely sure what it is. So we'll be going live again. We'll be emptying the rest of the box, that one there particularly, and yeah, we'll soon see what's going on with that. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Get them comments in. What is this? What is this Star Wars thing? What do you think about the others? Is the Recon better than the Rampage? Is the Rampage better than the Alpha Trooper? Sorry, is the Recon better than the Retaliator? What do you like to run? Do you like the Barricade? I don't like the Barricade. Are you as on board with the Rough Cut as I am? And have we had any technical issues? I have not seen them on my screen down here, but if anything's gone wrong, let me know that too. And I will see you probably live again, unless I sneak another video in before that. I will see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. All I've got to do now is click the end stream button. Goodbye.